Obviously there is this public records case going on right now, between former Lantern editor-in-chief and the university. And so, the special master of that
Yeah.
case came out with his recommendation, and essentially said that, the records had taken too long, to get to the former editor-in-chief, and then, they had kind of been improperly redacted. And kind of the interesting thing too, I think, was that the special master did find that this was kind of an issue that was likely to repeat itself. So just in light of that, how does this impact the philosophy of public records and
Yes.
that whole process going forward?
So a couple things I'd love to talk about. Public records. So we are a public institution. I believe all our records are public, and we want to be transparent and accountable. You've seen us be transparent and accountable. I've been sued for us being transparent and accountable. We want to be transparent and accountable. We also are then guided by appropriate privacy protections. Now, the public records are public records, but we have things like FERPA, which would protect your privacy as an individual person. And so this is a complicated case dealing with the information that we release publicly on students that identifies them, which we tend overwhelmingly not to do, with the public records responsibilities of a public institution, and in this particular case before there's been a finding. And so this is very complicated, and I'd say this is very complicated with multiple competing policies. We are interested in being transparent and accountable, and again, you've seen that in big ways. We also are interested in protecting appropriately the privacy of our students, and that's the balance that we have there, and we'll continue to work as this is. We're continuing to work through this and the recommendations that have come back and forth. We'll always obey the law. We believe in obeying the law, but I believe very much in both transparency and the importance of your personal privacy.
So did this case specifically, I guess, lead to any kind of re-evaluation or anything like that?
I would say, continually evaluate the findings, and when we have a case and we have the findings in a case, we look at those and we then say that we are compelled to comply with the law. If we think that I don't know that every law improves our communities, and when we have things that we think put important policies at risk, then we continue to evaluate and work with those. So this is one we're continuing to evaluate. Something I'd like to say just broadly, if I could, since it's the beginning of school now, it's September and we're coming back, and it's our sesquicentennial year, our 150th anniversary. We're thinking a lot about who we are after 150 years and who we want to be for the next 150 years, what we've done to get to be who we are. And I'll say there are a couple of things that are really important to that. We've really worked hard to establish ourselves as a place that is trusted by our broad constituencies. I was talking, you all weren't with me, but we go on state tours, and students are with us on the state tour. It's great fun. We take a bus and go around, and we were in a field a little over a year ago with farmers, and these are farmers in sort of northeast Ohio, and there were a group of them standing around talking about different things, and I was listening, and I was hearing them say how much they trusted the Ohio State University to give them data that helped them manage their crops and their fields in a better way. And it was a great way for me to hear what they were saying about our science and how much they trusted us. And I think, and I see this a lot, you're mentioning things that happen in healthcare, when we're at our hospital particularly, that our health clinics and hospital broadly, but our hospital in particular, people trust us every moment with their lives, with the lives of their family members. It happens right at this very moment. Every day that people come and they are relieved and grateful when they find themselves at the Ohio State University because they know that they can trust us, and I hear such gratitude from them. And I'm thinking of patients that we've had that were in the realm that we were speaking of earlier, and the gratitude we've gotten from their parents when they tell us they're so pleased about the way we've dealt with them, and we've really, honestly, in many cases, exceeded expectations. People come in with very high expectations for us, and we do our best to exceed those. And actually, I'd use you all as another. You have to, you and your parents have to trust us with your futures. You say, "Gosh, I'm going to say that this is a place I can go to give me a platform to have the best possible future." We feel that from our alumni who send their children to us with great pride. We feel that from parents or from families or from students who are the first in their family to go to college, saying, "Gosh, this has never happened for my family before. What can I do to give us the best opportunities in the future?" So that the things that we do that make those things true, the things that mean that so many people tell me these things over and over, that's our basic. Those would be our underlying principles and practices. We want to do our best to be that institution and do our best to be that institution for the future. So those are the things that we balance there, and trying to do our very best to be worthy of that trust. And we're, again, pleased with what we're hearing from people.
Mm-hmm. And so kind of to like bring it back to the public records question, obviously there is that balance because of FERPA and
Yes.
protecting the privacy of students.
Yes.
But in creating trust, that's also a part of that transparency that we
Yes.
were talking about. And so I guess just, in the interest of like creating that balance and trust,
Yes.
is there, I guess, any, in terms of public records, is there any kind of other, like, I know in the audit this year, there's an audit that looks at how long public records requests are taken to fill,
Yes.
how many we're filling, things like that. Is there any kind of audit in terms of redaction or like when we're denying requests, things like that?
Yeah. So again. So I've been personally sued for huge amounts of money because we released records fully and clearly.
Which-
I
I was going to ask really quick. And what exact situation are you referring to?
Well, the
there?
exact situation I referred to is with the marching band.
Okay.
And so that was many years. And the issue there was that we released public records. And I said, these are public records. There was a request for public records. We released public records. We do that. We released the report, the Strauss report. The redactions in the Strauss report were not our wish. Those were other agencies and laws caused those to be redacted. But we began the investigation right away. We released the report right when it came out. We didn't spend time. We believe in that very much. We have a large number of public record requests. Sometimes, I don't want to overstate that, but sometimes extraordinarily voluminous. And it takes time to go through them and to determine which things would not properly be part of a public record, which things would violate personal privacy or other kinds of things, attorney-client privilege, patient privacy, etc. So they have to kind of be gone through line by line. I wish it didn't take so long. But we don't hold back. We don't. What we do, I'll just say this, we do our very best, I do my very best to behave in a way that there's no record that we have that couldn't be reviewed. Because they're public records. Doing this for a long time, the records, we release the records if they have there's a public interest in them. And we just try to make sure that they're not done in a way that compromise personal privacy or cause harm to anyone inappropriately or unnecessarily. So I wish it were faster. But I will say also, when we get requests, this doesn't sound right. I'll say what it was so you know that it doesn't sound right, then you cannot not use it. It's just that there's like an incredible volume of these things, and it just takes a long time to go through them, to be careful, have a legal review. It's not as simple as here's this thing. So that it just I can imagine. I'm sorry that it takes as long as it does.